Hello, Denver Startup Week. I'm Elizabeth Marberry.
And I'm Michanda Lindsey.
And welcome to this session called Let's Get Naked, Leading with Vulnerability. Now, don't worry, all of our clothes are going to remain on during the session, so it's a safe space. Before we dive in, Michanda has a few announcements.
I do, and so they're going to put them up on the slides as well for you. Our acknowledgments, we want to thank, of course, all of you for joining us. It's the 12th annual Denver Startup Week, and we want to thank some of our sponsors, Amazon, Capital One, Cafe, Dell for startups in the downtown Denver partnership. Claire did a lot of this for me already, so we get to skip some of this. You are being recorded, so make sure that you're not wanted or anything, because we are recording you. And we want you to share your experience. You can do that at hashtag Den Startup Week. So we hope that you utilize that. And then here's another one with our sponsors again. Our track sponsor, of course, for People Track in the back. We want to wave to them again. Emerge. Thank you, Emerge. Thank you so much. Thank you. We're so grateful for them, and we have lots of support here today. And another one of more sponsors. So if you can read this, which you probably will have difficulty reading it because I don't have my glasses on. I have difficulty reading this. So I ask you to also go online to denverstartupweek.org, and you can see all of these names and sponsors because these people are the reason we're able to offer all of this programming for you for the week for free. So we're so grateful for all of them. We have partner sponsors, member sponsors. I can see because Southwest is big enough, and Matter and Method, Comcast, NBC, Universal. Some of the other ones, please make sure that you go on and thank them. Whenever, with your business, with spreading the word, however you want to thank them. Okay, I think we did our acknowledgments.
We did it.
Okay.
All right. So we're going to dive in, and you know what? We're getting off the stage, y'all.
Off the
We're getting
stage.
vulnerable.
Off the stage.
We got to get off
yeah.
the stage.
We decided no stage for us.
No stage for us. Nope.
Yeah.
So I want to officially introduce myself. I'm Elizabeth Marberry, and I'm a social media marketing mentor. I've grown my company's social influence to over 120,000 followers, and it's totally transformed my business. So social media is totally my jam. And I also have my own podcast called Strut It. If you're a creative entrepreneur, it's for you. It's all about how to grow your business with confidence online. And I'm a proud founder and CEO at Wedding Dance Coach, which is a brick and mortar studio here in Denver, Colorado, where I have a team of instructors and we choreograph people's first dances for their weddings and parent-child dances, wedding party dances. It's a lot of fun because these people are so nervous and we get to help them feel confident and rock the dance floor on their big day. And I am a mother of 2 young children. I am happily married. This is my husband. It's his birthday today.
His birthday.
Let's say happy birthday. Yes. And I couldn't complete this bio without sharing that I am a former professional dancer. Dance is just absolutely ingrained in my soul, and I love donuts, specifically glazed donuts.
Those are the best. Yeah,
they are
glazed
the best.
donuts. Okay. I don't have any donuts in my story, but we'll still tell my story. So my name is Michanda Lindsey, and so my focus is presence and healing. I talk about slowing down, making space to listen inside out, and understanding that our answers are already inside of us. If we just take time to know them, everything is energy. And so the more that we can connect with the energy here, we can be in harmony with who we really are and with every space that we occupy. I do executive coaching. I help people with their life path guidance. They want to find out, like, hey, what's next for me? What's happening in my world? I also teach a certification course called The Flow. And that simply means teaching people, how do you live in this crazy, hectic world with a little bit more peace, with more consciousness, with more presence? And so that is all through the flow. And then this next one, I know it freaks people out, but it is true and real. And if you understand it, then you understand it. And we don't want to brag about understanding this last one. And that is helping people through dark night of the soul. And if you don't know that, then just enjoy not knowing that. If you do know it, you know that that's a really intense period. And so helping people through that place. I'm also a wife. I have 2 young sons. They're not so young anymore. My this is like my bestest friend, like Sister Kasha here, so she knows them. They've outgrown me. They've outgrown my husband. They're 24 and 22. I couldn't get either one of them to come. Like, Mom, are you kidding me? Hear you again? Like, no. So they're not here with me, but they're here. I'm also a yogi, and I'm a priest. And I used to serve very formally, and then I transitioned, and I'm now like the hippie priest in a small clergy community that lets me be who I am. And I'm really grateful for that. And that is that I just love every person of every background, and I want to help everyone find their connection to who they are. And so that's my story. No donuts, but I do like glazed. Okay.
And cinnamon rolls. My husband says those aren't donuts, though, because there's no hole. All right, so we are going to have you guys take a moment and introduce yourself to someone in the room. So I'd like for you to find someone sitting close to you, someone you don't know. Please step out of your comfort zone. I know this can be a little awkward, but introduce yourself and say your name, or your favorite book, your favorite movie, podcast. You have 30 seconds.
30
Ready,
seconds.
Set, go. I'm so excited.
I am too. I was thinking we should have had music so we could have danced.
I know. Does everybody have someone? I think they do. Oh, this guy doesn't have someone. Greg, go talk to that guy. I'm making my husband do it. We are. Okay, what is the next slide?
I don't remember.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4. Uh-oh, this is not working. 3, 2, 1. Blast off. Ooh, that kind of worked.
You guys did
Nice.
great. I was going to say, my mom is a former educator, so like, they do this. Like they look around the room, like she still kind of does it. We're like, Grandma, like you can kind of stop doing that, but she still does it. We have 3 requests for you all today. And the first one is really easy, and so is the second one, and so is the third one. The first one is, please be gentle. Be gentle with yourselves, be gentle with the space, be gentle with what you're hearing today, be gentle with every person around you. We hope you're gentle, period, even after today. Please be gentle. The second one also, be kind. Please be kind. We need more kindness in this world. So please be kind, starting here. When we're kind here, we can be kind with everyone else around us. And be open today, please. You're going to hear some new things, and our mind sometimes has a tendency to turn off what it has never heard before and say, I don't need this, I don't get this doesn't make sense. And we judge so easily and quickly. I never have to teach a workshop on, here's how you judge. Everyone knows how to judge. So what I'm going to ask you to do instead is please be open. So that's what we'd like you to practice today. And you want to share our overview with everyone.
So today what we're going to do, our structure, is we are going to explore our old beliefs around vulnerability. What are the old paradigms and things that we've been taught about being vulnerable? Next, we're going to move into some new perspectives, some new beliefs and mantras that you can start to play with and embody. And then we're going to give you some practices to try, because sometimes this is all kind of out there in the 5D, and I want you to pull it into your body, into the 3D. What does this look like in your life? What does this look like at work? And then at the end, make sure you stick around, because Michanda and I have a couple bonuses, some gifts for all of you for being here with us. So make sure you stick around for that final piece.
Oh, yeah, I love bonuses.
Oh, who doesn't?
We had to have a bonus. If you're going to come and listen for an hour, you need a bonus afterwards. Okay. So we want you to think now about what you've been taught about vulnerability. Just kind of take a moment and think, what have you been taught? Consider some of the beliefs that you were told, what maybe your family members said, what teachers told you, what you learned in the professional space. What have we been taught about vulnerability? I'm going to give you 10 seconds for that. Lori wants to interact. Yes. Okay. Go right. We didn't plan this, but we'll go with it.
Let's go.
Okay.
I think
Ah, awesome. Lori says she thinks we're more alike than different. I agree. Okay. Oh, another hand.
So is this what we were taught to believe as children?
Yeah.
Yes.
At any point, yes.
So in the Detroit area, put up a wall, show that you're tough, never show vulnerability, never show weakness.
Yes.
Come at it, and even that through everything.
So she said, like, she put up the wall from the Detroit area. Like, we learned to just basically have a front about you. So, okay, I'm going to give you one more. Yes.
Vulnerability doesn't have a place in the workplace.
Ooh, that's the one. She hit it like, whew, all of these are so good.
Jeez.
And that is the one we definitely want to address. The vulnerability has no place in the workplace. And so I know that we're not the only two who heard that. Elizabeth and we're not the only three who've heard that. Who else has heard that? Okay. Oh, you never heard that? Okay. All right. That's so wonderful. Okay. It does, doesn't it? Okay, that's why we want, oh, I went too fast, so close your eyes. Okay, we're going back. That really is sensitive. I got to be like low on the thumb pressure. Okay, so here are a few that we came up with. I have to have all the answers. We want you to raise your hands if you have felt that way.
If you relate, raise your hand.
I can't ask for help.
Oh, yeah.
Keep your problems to yourself. Oh, I definitely heard that one. Don't air your dirty laundry. No one wants to hear about your problems. Keep that to yourself. Vulnerability is a weakness. Who heard that one? Oh, yes. Vulnerabilities. And then don't trust anyone. These just sound like heavy.
Ooh.
They like make you want to like just run from
I'm gonna go
the energy.
take a nap.
Because they're so constricted, these old beliefs, but we all raised your hands and you were taught them. And so we know we're not alone. Okay, thankfully, there's another way. I like this picture. Another way. There's a little bit of a tunnel there, but there's light. And so that's what we want to talk about today, another way. So before we go on, I'd like for you to, within yourself, think about one belief that you're ready to let go of. We listed a few. You may have some that weren't listed. One that you want to let go of. And please share that with the same neighbor. Because this is the one that you want to have accountability with, that you're going to throw in the trash. That one belief that you're ready to I'm ready to let that one go. So.
Like a snake shedding a layer.
Ooh, yeah.
Ooh.
Ooh, yeah.
All right, let's go. 30 seconds. Let's go. We are rocking. All right. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Blast off. We did not plan that countdown.
didn't.
By the
I
way.
like the
this is total
countdown.
improv. All right.
But it's all about improv.
It's all about improv. All
we
right.
prepare, and then you're present, and you see what happens. And so you all are seeing what happens with us. Okay. So this is my favorite part. That old energy, we have to let it go. Whew. Because just talking about it just felt a little like, ugh. And so this is my favorite part. We get to breathe. So close your eyes. And if you're able to put both feet on the ground, you can. If not, it's okay. Whatever makes you feel comfortable. Close your eyes if you're able to. And if you're comfortable, we want you to be comfortable. And first, we just want you to notice your breath leaving your nostrils, entering your nostrils, just deep breaths. And you can do a quick little body scan and notice if I'm holding any tension around my temple, my head. Maybe I'm squeezing my eyelids too tightly around my jawline and mouth. Relax your neck. You may need to rotate your neck. That was a good crack. Notice if your shoulders are too close to your ears and you want to bring them down and relax your shoulders. Relax your arms all the way down. Just keep relaxing through your midsection, your sit bones, all through your entire being. And we just trust that every breath is nourishing us and giving us what we need, and every exhale, we're just continuing to stay committed to letting go of whatever we don't need. One more deep breath. And when you're ready, go ahead and you can come back with us. The hardest part is I could stay there. Breathing is so powerful. It's in all honesty, it's one of our tools we're giving you on the front end. That when we feel nervous and unsure of ourselves, the one thing we always have access to is to breathe. And it's the easiest thing we forget. And you hold the breath up here, you realize you're not breathing. So breathing is so easy, so simple, so powerful.
Beautiful work. So we're going to get into that new energy now. We discarded something that we're ready to let go of. And what do we want to step into? So we are going to teach you about the ABCs of vulnerability today. So let's get into A, for authenticity. So this one starts with you. Vulnerability starts with your relationship with yourself, knowing that there is only one you. Mm-hmm. Yes. And as humans, we are all so longing for connection with each other, aren't we? We want to connect. We want to feel seen and heard and appreciated. And that's true at work. That's true at home. That's true in relationships. And it starts with, are we being our real, authentic selves? And who is that? Who is that? When you take away your title, CEO, founder, employee, employer, mom, dad, sister, brother, you take away any titles, who are you at your essence? And how do we let that come through, right? So moving on to the next slide, I have a little story for y'all. So this picture is pretty hilarious. Just over a year and a half ago, I made a very conscious decision to build a personal brand on Instagram. And at that time, my goal was to position myself as the dance studio CEO. And what that meant to me was I am this, the person behind my dance studio, and I want to show everybody how much I love dance and I'm passionate about dance, and it's just part of who I am. And so I was creating some content, and it just wasn't really working well. I was in my bathroom, and I was out on my walks, and I was just, as you're working on your marketing messaging, you're always kind of refining it. And there was this one day that I came home, it had been snowing outside, and I had my hiking boots on, and I walked into my kitchen, and I just felt like, you know what? I'm going to make this dance video in my messy kitchen. And I had my yoga pants on. This is too much information. No bra. I had sweat marks. I hadn't washed my hair in a couple days. It was greasy and a braid. And I was just like, I'm doing this. I'm going to make this video. And there was every part of me that was just like, but is that what like a 40-something-year-old CEO does? People don't do that. Like, that's not professional. What are people going to think of me if I post this, right? And so I posted it, and I was going to throw up. I was so nervous. But why that was important to me is that it was my essence. It was me being me with no apologies, putting myself out there and embracing my real self and putting it out there. So what happened? This video went viral over 500,000 views within a very short amount of time, thousands of likes, lots of comments. And what did I get from that? Is that when you are in your authentic self, like when you are being you, you know what? Not only does it empower you, but it also empowers other people to be in their essence, to know that it's okay to be perfectly flawed, right? That we don't have to be all polished and put together all the time. What if we brought more of our real selves into our work, into our marketing, into how we lead a team meeting?
That's so powerful. I love that one, and I'm regretting that we didn't bring music today because we both love to dance, and like we could have had this whole like let's be authentic and dance, but we didn't do that. So you all can relax, and we're not going to have you
see
dance.
you next year.
Yeah. Okay, so carrying on with the theme of authenticity, I think it's so important for us to reveal our true selves, and that means letting go of this mask. So the picture on the left is I was presenting for YPO, the gold chapter for Rocky Mountain. So that's Young Presidents Organization, but it was the gold chapter. So we were seasoned, and it's a formal setting. And I love this other picture on the right because that's where I normally sit when I'm doing my sessions over Zoom. And I sit there, and of course I always like to breathe and remind people to take their deep breath. And so at one point in my business, I had two different business names. So I had the one that supposedly sounded so professional, Blueprint Transformations, LLC. Now, I'm dating myself with that name because we did not think that when I created Blueprint Transformations and then have a website.com that I'd have to tell people it's Blueprint T, and then you got to spell out transformations.com. You already know my first name, so Michanda at blueprinttransformations.com was not, you're laughing because you just like, yeah, like, can you imagine? Like, emails did not get to me. I wonder why. Because it was so much to type, and it was so much, but I had this idea that like Blueprint, my Blueprint persona, I had like the Blueprint website, the Blueprint business cards, and they were very blue, and that was it. And then I had this other side during my business because I was like, it wasn't all of me, so I created this whole other side called Fill Your Cup. And that felt like, oh, that feels more like me. Fill your cup. How do you take care of yourselves? How do you nourish inside out? And so I had two different business cards. And that one, like, oh, it had a picture of a cup. It was like lavender color. It was just, you know, I really love this card. So I'm networking at this event. And I meet this woman. She's dressed in this beautiful pantsuit. And she tells me that she works for this financial company downtown. And so I'm having this moment. Which card do I give her? Which card do I give her? What do I tell her about myself? Do I tell her about my Blueprint self? Do I tell her about... And we're in this conversation. And I can't help but I tell her about what I care about. Like, how do we take care of ourselves? I'm so passionate about making sure that we let go of all this energy that keeps us so restricted and boxed in. So we're having this beautiful conversation. And at the end, I fumbled. I gave her the Blueprint card. I'm like, I just can't. I got it. She's in the pantsuit. She works for a financial company downtown. It's an international financial company. She doesn't need this fill your cup, pretty lavender cup card. I'm going to give her my Blueprint card. So she's a close friend of mine, and she tells the story that she goes home like, I really want to meet that woman, and I meet so many people that I get their cards, I put them all in one pocket, but the people I want to call right away, I put in my right pocket. And she's like, I'm looking in my right pocket, like, where's that woman I met? All the things she was talking about, I can't find her. She said, all I have is this Blueprint card. I don't know who this person, like, she's like, I can't. And so she almost didn't find me. And so we laugh about it now because eventually I decided I'm tired of two business cards. I'm tired of that moment where they're like, what's happening? I'm not listening to them anymore. I'm listening to all this like angst in here. And that's a terrible feeling because they're having a conversation with you and they said something and you pause because you're like, I really didn't hear it. So how do I say I didn't hear it? And you just kind of like nod for a moment. And I'm like, I'm tired of like not listening. I'm all about presence, but I'm so paranoid about which card to give. So I decided I'm just going to like be myself and just one card, one website, one name. It's Michanda Lindsey. Yes, it's still long. And I was like, okay, it's more me. And it's going to reflect that I do care about energy, and I do care about, like, I still work in corporate settings and they still let me come. And the point is, the more that we're our authentic selves, we get to experience the freedom of being that. And that is attractive to people. And it has not stopped me from working in the same financial company downtown, other financial companies, athletic organizations. It has not stopped me, because being ourselves is what people want. They do not want our idea of what that's supposed to be. And my girlfriends laugh, like, who did you think you were hiding from anyway? Like, they couldn't tell you already cared about, like, energy and spirit and all that stuff. Like, of course they knew. Anyone who talks to you can tell that. So be ourselves is the point about the A, authenticity.
Not yet. We'll take questions at the end. So yeah, if you have a question that pops up in your brain, please make note of it. We are hoping to piece in some time for questions at the end.
Okay, so write it down. And if you're like me, definitely write it down. Because I'll say I don't need to write it down, then I wish I did. Okay, so it's time for a belief shift. And so that's the B. And the biggest belief shift is what we talked about already. It's letting go of all those old ones. And so I love this story.
All right. So as you guys know, I own Wedding Dance Coach, this brick and mortar studio in Denver, helping couples prepare for their first dance. So a couple months ago, I had a horrible thing happen. One of my instructors, who I was a newer instructor I had hired this year, I thought she was fantastic, super excited. I'm CEO. I pick her. I take responsibility. She's great. She didn't show up for work. And I had clients waiting at my studio saying, where's our instructor? Couldn't get a hold of her. The next day, she doesn't show up again. Ended up completely ghosting me and the company. Probably every employer's worst nightmare, right? What was really tough is this teacher was booked for 50 hours of private lessons over the next 8 weeks with couples who are getting married within the next couple months. And so after I had a little moment, I was able to practice what we're talking about today. So old Elizabeth, so I've been in business now 13 years, baby entrepreneur Elizabeth, would have said, you know what? This is my fault. I hired the wrong person, which there's some truth in that, right? You know what I need to do? I need to say goodbye to my husband and children for 8 weeks, and I'm going to take on all these lessons. I got to do it. Surely, look, it was just proven to me. No one else can be trusted with my business, right? I can't trust anyone. I got to do it myself. So I'm going to do it. I'm going to take all these lessons. I'm going to take responsibility. I'm going to work myself to the bone. That's what's required. But instead, I chose something else this time. I called my team members and I told them what happened, held space for their feelings. And then I said, I need your help. I can't do this alone. I need all hands on deck right now because these couples are relying on us and they're trusting us, and I need your help. I need you to open up times in your schedule. I need you to answer my phone calls over the next few weeks. I need you to deliver even better results to these clients because we are not going to let them down. And you know what was so incredible is my team rose to the occasion, and as a result, we are stronger than ever. My team members are stronger than ever. That loyalty, that trust is stronger. And what was really cool is in our team meeting where I was able to kind of acknowledge, what we were moving through, is I was able to practice this belief that this is actually happening for us. Why is this happening for us versus to us? I can tell you why right now. I'm going to be a much better person to find teachers next time, right? Am I going to make better hiring decisions? I hope so. Are they going to be perfect? No. But I'm going to learn. My team's stronger. And guess what? Now they're expert team teachers. So if a couple comes in and they need to work with multiple instructors, we got that down, right? So that happened for us. Now we're even better. And so I was able to be vulnerable with my team, and that really strengthened us.
Vulnerability is such a strength, and it's also so counterintuitive because in this room we can say, yes, I totally want to be vulnerable. I'm going to be vulnerable from now on. And then what happens when you leave this room? You're like, oh, I'm going back to Detroit. I'm going to like put the armor on. Well, not going back to Detroit, but yeah. Oh, he said Detroit mode. Yeah, we all have a Detroit mode. And so we can put those walls back up because the one thing that we're so scared of is what someone else is going to think of me. You're going to think I'm not competent. You're going to think that I don't deserve to be where I am. You're going to judge me. And it's kind of like what I told my kids when they were in first grade, when they went to high school, when they went to college. It's like, guess what? No one else has it figured out either. They're all learning. We're so worried about what someone else thinks, and the truth is we all understand this feeling. Everyone's nodding their heads. So there's not a person who does not understand that worry of being misjudged, misunderstood, and it is only real up here. Because the minute we take that step forward, we find out it's actually okay. And the same way that Elizabeth just shared, we find out that we actually liberate other people. People that we work with, our teams, are going to be like, oh my goodness, thank you for admitting you don't have it all together. Because now I can admit when I made a mistake. And now we have a different kind of relationship. We can be open and solve things quicker than hiding. And have you ever had someone like your kids are the greatest one of this, like when they hide, like we spilled something, and so if we just cover it, maybe they won't notice. They're laughing because like we all like, or like we broke something. It's like the Brady Bunch. Like we'll just try. I'm dating myself, like the Brady Bunch, and like we'll try to glue the vase because Mom always said don't play ball in the house. So we all know that it comes out. So we might as well just be honest about it. Circles for sharing mean that we all need to have someone we can go to. So this is important because if you're leading a whole team, there are layers and circles to what we share. So I'm not going to go into people that I'm leading and saying, I don't know if we're going to get paid next week. I mean, I don't know. You might want to go start looking because that's not what I'm talking about. That would be information that I want to share with a professional network group, another friend who's a CEO, and say, how have you solved for this before? Have you ever had a cash flow problem? Have you ever had a contract that you thought was going to come through on this date, but it's actually scheduled for 90 days later? And then what do you do in the meantime? As opposed to stressing out for 90 days and then, maybe using your credit card and freaking out. Have you ever decided to maybe I can share that experience with someone else? And then we go through the experience of when we're dealing with things at home. Who's ever had any problem at home? Am I the only one? A problem at home? No one's ever had a problem at home? Okay.
Everyone's perfect.
What'd you say?
Everyone's perfect.
Okay. Oh, they're all perfect here. Okay. So when you have a problem at home, we know, or maybe we don't know, that I don't want to necessarily bring it into the workplace. But what happens? Did you enter the workplace? Yeah. So then guess what did you bring with you? You brought your problem, whether you knew it or not. That does not mean everyone wants to hear about your argument and the details and why you're right. Because the minute I start talking to an employee, I'm going to use Kasha as my example because she can handle it. And I'm going to say, Kasha, like pretend she works for me and not my like good friend, like a sister. And I said, can I tell you what my husband did last night? Like, I don't know, he's such a like blankety blank and I don't understand it. And like, aren't I right about this? And then what else can she say to me? Because she works for me. What is she going to say? Of course you're right. And now I've just treated her like she's my pseudo therapist. And I'm not even paying her for that. I'm paying her for other work. So that's not okay. That's not the circle of sharing we're talking about. So what I'm saying is I'm going to say to Kasha, like, you know what, today I might need a little bit more time in my office, all as well, just going through a few things. I'd like for you to still go ahead and tell me what's happening, but just know that today is just not my highest day, and we're going to get through it. that would be appropriate to share with her. She does not need to hear the inner details of what happened last night, this morning, etc. However, we have friends. Now this is Kasha, my friend. So I have a friend I can go talk to, and I can say, Kasha, can I tell you what's wrong with these kids? Why are they doing this? Oh my gosh, I'm ready to throw them out the window today. Like, that's appropriate for a friend. So there's circles and layers to where we share. So do you all understand that? It's not okay to just say vulnerability means like, guess what, you all? I'm telling you everything from now on. That's not okay, because it puts a burden on certain people. Think about your space and who you're sharing with. We all need someone we can be 100% naked with, like emotionally naked.
My mind just went in the gutter.
And we all need to understand that in our workplace, the more we admit we need help, that things don't go as planned, and it's not perfect, it frees everyone. And now I can all take a deep breath, and people can problem solve and be creative together and admit, hey, what I tried didn't work out, as opposed to being fearful of punishment, of judgment, of getting fired, etc.
Let's get into C, courage. So what we're talking about today can be really scary. Like we've already touched on, fear of judgment, self-doubt, imposter syndrome, all of the things that bubble up. And what is required in doing this work is a great deal of courage. So you can move to the next slide, darling. So fun story for you. A couple months ago, I had a phone call from the biggest morning show in the UK called This Morning. Is anyone from the UK here that knows it? No? You know it? Okay. And they called me up and said, we found your business on Instagram, social media plug there, and we would love to talk to you about we're doing a piece on the weddings, and we'd like to talk to you about your business. And so, of course, I said, yes, of course, like, hello, yes, please interview me. And they're like, fantastic. It's going to be in the next couple days. It's going to be at, we're going to send a camera crew to your studio, and they're going to arrive at 1:45 in the morning, and you'll just let them in, and then we'll go live at like 3:20 a.m. your time. Does that sound good? I am terrified. I am not a morning person at all. Like, this is not good in the morning. So already I'm just a little bit frightened, right? But of course I said yes, and I had just a couple days to prepare for the interview. And as I was preparing, of course I felt excited and honored and blessed and all of those things. But you know what got really loud is that fear, that anxiety, that nervous energy of, who am I to do this? What if I say the wrong thing? What if I don't appear smart? What if it's live TV? What if I just blank? Like, my brain just went to the worst possible situation, right? And what I have learned, and this has been a complete game changer in my life, is that when we do anything new, anything that pushes our edges and invites us to step out of our comfort zone, your body is going to have a biological response of fear. The sympathetic nervous system will be activated. Your fight, flight, and freeze will be activated. So what I have learned, as I constantly like to push my edges and expand, is that that's part of the game. I notice now when I'm really pushing myself, I feel it in my body, and I feel that fear. And instead of that fear being a message that I shouldn't do the thing, I actually see it and I say, oh, hi, fear, come cozy up with me. Come right next to me. And the courage is feeling the fear and doing it anyway. Taking action, moving forward. So I got fear here. We're besties, and we are moving forward. So we're not banishing fear from the building. You are human. Your body wants to keep you safe. It wants to keep you in a small, tight, neat little package where a bear is not going to eat you alive, right? So get to know that response and invite it in. So morning of, I'm ready. I got my makeup on. I had this moment of, oh my God, I don't remember any of the questions. I don't remember the questions. I don't remember my answers. I'm on my mark. I'm standing on my mark. I cannot move from the mark. We are going to go live in 2 minutes. And the cameraman says, the lens is blurry. I got to switch it out. And he's switching out the lens and he's sweating. And I'm just like, I can't move. And I'm just freaking out. But you know what I did? I did it. I did it. And it was imperfect. Thank you. It was totally imperfect. Did I stumble over a few things? And I watched it back and I was like, what did I do? But you know what? That's how we learn. That's how we practice. That's how we get better. So fear is normal. Invite it in right on next to your courage and then practice. Keep going.
Absolutely. I love to say that fear is like our indicator light, like you're on the right path. Like that's the sign. When it shows up, it means, whoo, there's some growth happening. Whoo, every time there's fear, ooh, I'm in a good spot. So all I want to do is keep taking another step. Keep going forward. Keep breathing. So whatever that means to you, to go forward, that's what we want you to do. We want you to understand that, whew, if I'm still breathing, that's a good sign. And fear simply means I'm in the right place for growth. And so we invite you all to think about yourselves as courageous. And even beyond courageous to say that you are, I'm looking in the room of like all these, I would count, but like, we don't have enough time for that. So I'm going to estimate. Who's a good estimator? Anybody? I don't know. I'd say like maybe, what do we have, like 60? Okay, that sounds good. I like that number. We'll go with 60. So 60 people in here who all have courage. And not only do you have courage, and when you begin to think that that might be your name, it's how we go forward, knowing that I'm not alone. Fear shows up when I'm growing, and I certainly want to keep growing.
So we want you to, I invite you to close your eyes or just take a soft gaze. Sometimes if you look down, I like to close my eyes because it gets me out of my head and kind of into my body. So whatever is comfortable for you. And I want you to find evidence of your courage. Reflect on a time when you showed courage. And just trust whatever image or idea comes up. Don't overthink it. And remember that a courageous act can be very small. I've had days where it felt hard to get out of bed. So maybe your courageous act was just getting out of bed. Maybe your courageous act was finding parking down here and making your way into this session. So does everybody have kind of a picture in their brain or a moment where they feel they're finding their evidence? Just give me a nod. Okay. Beautiful.
So you have your story about courage. And now we want to take it another step forward, another breath forward. I'm going to keep with breath. And so think about now a belief about vulnerability that you can take going forward. Because we talked about one we want to throw in the trash can. But what's a new belief that maybe you're ready to try on and go forward with as it relates to vulnerability? What's one new belief? And I feel like we have 30 seconds. Do you feel like we do?
Yeah.
Okay.
And do you want to share the next slide with the mantra?
Well, not yet. I think we should get into 30
Okay.
seconds first. Okay. So we're having our little like powwow. Thanks for listening. Okay. So how about 30 seconds to tell your neighbor the new belief you're going to take forward? Okay. 30. Go. Mm-hmm. That's okay. No, it's all good. This is all good. The next one, it does that. Have something else.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Blast off.
Okay, so that's just one you can try more, but we want at least one related to vulnerability that you're going to take going forward, because that's huge. Every belief is where behavior follows. So I always say that. We always want results, but what we forget is that the result can only be sustainable when the belief is there. So we started today about beliefs. Without beliefs, we can sustain nothing. So I want you guys to all repeat this before I go to the next slide. All behavior follows beliefs. Everybody say that.
All behavior follows beliefs.
Okay, 2 more quick times.
All behavior follows beliefs. Behavior follows beliefs.
See, it's that school teacher in me. You're raised by a school teacher, always a school teacher. Okay, so that's what I want you to remember. Whenever you want to change something, start at the belief level. So here are some mantras that we thought are really cool, and we want you to think of your own as well. And so these mantras are powerful, and you can repeat them over and over to yourself, not when you feel like it, especially when you don't feel like it. That's the key. If you wait till you feel like it, well, then you miss the whole point. We want to say these all the time, especially when I don't feel this way. So I am worthy of support. Is huge. Everyone is. I am worthy of asking for help. I'm worthy of support. I am more than capable. More than capable. My best self is what, Elizabeth?
My real self?
She told you amazing stories that remind you that our best selves are when we're being our real self, and that every breath is victory. That means if I'm still breathing, there's victory there. It may not look pretty. It may not look like the way I want it to look, nice and put together and packaged great, but every breath is a victory. It means I'm going forward if I'm breathing. And then the last one I love is I am power and courage. And notice I didn't say I am powerful and courageous. I said I am power and courage. Those are 2 nouns because when we embody it, it stays with us. If I say I'm powerful, that's like I'm putting on a jacket and I can take it on and off. I'm courageous in this moment, but maybe the next moment I'm not. But if I am power and courage, that stays with me. That's my name. And I'm going to live up to who I am. So we repeat it over and over. There was a time in my life I had to keep saying over and over, I am peace and light. I am peace and light, just to keep me going. I am peace and light. So to remember the power of mantras. Okay.
So to review our ABCs, A for authenticity, my real self is my best self. Belief, vulnerability is a strength, not a weakness. Courage, choose courage over fear, or I want to kind of change that to choose courage alongside your fear, right? Because we're inviting both in.
Absolutely.
All right, it's bonus time, baby.
Should we do a quick question first?
No, we got to give them our bonuses.
Okay, all right.
All right.
I yield to bonus time.
We are going to do bonuses, and then we're going to take questions. So get ready. I know it might take some courage to shoot that hand up there, but hopefully we've created a space where you feel like you can ask us anything. So please, we invite you to ask us any questions. All right, so the bonus we have for you today is we each have a gift. So this is where I want you to whip out your phones and open up your camera on your phone. And you're going to tap on the QR code. Now, my gift to you is I created this podcast mini series just for you all for this session on vulnerability and specifically how to show up online even if it terrifies you. Because oftentimes my clients, when I'm working with them in their marketing, it's easy to just not put your full authentic self forward and overthink your content. So this little podcast series will empower you to feel really confident, and it will be a great review of a lot of these concepts we talked about today and how they apply to your marketing.
I'm signing up. And so my QR code that I have, and this is something that I'm only doing today and only for like until 5 p.m. So it's a really quick one. And that is, if you sign up on my contact page and you somewhere on the subject line put ABC, because those are the ABCs we learned today, I'm offering 45-minute free session only for people who were here today and only for the next hour. You have to go on, log on, and type in ABC on the subject line, and I will give you 45 minutes of my time to share more with you if you're interested in working on you. If you know that you have some blind spots, some areas that you want to grow, some things you want to let go of, some space that you want to expand into, then I'm offering a chance for you to connect with the most important person, and that is you.
Awesome. I love it. Okay, so we have a few minutes for Q&A. So I would love, yes, please.
Well, I think of vulnerability in terms also of just being able to face really difficult kind of conversations.
Nice.
And that's something that really didn't come up. So I'm imagining a scenario where, a holiday thing where you're up against grandpa's climate change denialism. And you have to have that difficult conversation.
Love it.
And, and that whole camp of what he believes in, you have to stand in your beliefs to be able to have that. But you're in the company, how vulnerable are you going to get in that situation? And I think people, we're all conscientious, loving people, so I don't think I'm going to find a disagreement on that particular subject here. But I think people of a loving intention have not been taught how to have those difficult, vulnerable conversations with people who are way out there in the spectrum and who believe things that are an existential threat to our planet and to civilization. We don't know how to have those conversations, how to really be vulnerable and be courageous to have those conversations. That to me is real vulnerability. We can learn how to do that.
And
Jazz.
Okay. The first thing I'm going to say to that is take a deep breath. And the reason I start with a deep breath is because it gets me from up here, where I call it neck up, to get us from neck down. Because when I'm neck down, I'm going to put the clicker, I'll go back here and I'll put the clicker down. Now I get to use my other hand. So when we go from neck down, now I'm tapping into heart space, truth space, and then further down, like, I'm a yogi, so the chakras, but so I want to fully ground. Because if I'm only going to do from neck up, and now I'm not talking about chakras, I'm talking about my inner dialogue up here, then chances of me holding space and talking to someone from up here is going to be a disaster. Especially if they have a belief system that's different than my own, especially if it's related to something that I'm passionate about. So I need to breathe first to remind myself, what is my intention here? Is my intention to be right? Because that's neck up, if I want to be right. Then we're going to have World War III at our Thanksgiving. And I have done that before. It wasn't at Thanksgiving. But I did go there with someone. And I was like, and afterwards I felt like, was that the right place? Yes, I held my own. Yes, I was vulnerable. Yes, I was courageous. But did it have the real result that I wanted? So I really say we need to think about, what's my intention? Is my intention to simply share and be okay with how it's received? Because if I'm okay with how they receive it and I'm not trying to change them, then I'm able to speak in a space where vulnerability comes without creating damage. Because I say it's too easy for us to damage ourselves and one another. So it can hurt me and the other person. If I'm going to come with my dagger, I'm going to be right on this. I'm going to quote. I'm a former journalist. You don't want to argue with me. I'm married to an attorney. You don't want to argue with me. So when I get into that realm, I'm creating damage. So I need to breathe and remember, why am I really sharing with this person? What do I really want to accomplish? And am I okay with where they are? And if I plant a seed, I care more about the seed being planted and trusting that that will grow than me being right in this moment. And so that's what I've learned about vulnerability is, can I be okay that in this space I didn't get the reaction I wanted? They didn't nod. They didn't say, Michanda, you're the greatest, and I get it now, and I'm ready to come onto your side and vote for all your... And if they didn't say that, can I still be okay and still love them and not have a pit in my stomach? Because that's on me.
Ooh, I got nothing to add to that. Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Ooh, you know what you reminded me of? Yes, I'm a huge Brene Brown fan. And one tip that she has in the workplace that I've definitely utilized is that when you're having a difficult conversation with a coworker, that you, and it's, I can tell you've heard this before, you don't want to sit across from them. Like, you don't want to sit here and then there's the desk and then there's you and I'm having this difficult conversation with you, right? What if I came and sat down next to you to have that conversation?
Yeah.
So body language is a huge way in the workplace that we can help people to kind of lay down that armor and be more open to our conversations.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think that's powerful. I love Brene Brown, and I say even beyond her, we can go to like so many ancient masters who like way before always taught us like this life is about knowing who we are and walking that path, and not about this outer idea of ego, success, what other people think, but it's all about coming home to our truth. And so Brene is a modern version of that who does it so well, and there's so much we can learn from that, so that's a great one. Daring Greatly, sets the foundation. She has so many other ones. And I also would say that the more that we can make space to understand that we are all practicing, that every breath is practice. This is not about like, hey, I have to have it mastered. And when we make a mistake, to own it. Like, you know what? I said some things I thought about later I wish I could take back. They really weren't a reflection of my true intention with you, so I can own that as well. We're at 4 o'clock. I really want to make sure we end on time. So if you have other questions for us, please come chat with us. Is there anything else you want to say to people before we wrap up?
I just wanted to say I would love to connect with all of you who are on Instagram. That's like my favorite way to connect. I'd love to receive a DM from you and let me know what you thought of the session. If you have feedback for us, I can share it with Michanda. I love to connect with you, and I'd love to see your businesses. I'd love to see what you're up to. So I'd love to connect there. And I just want to thank all of you so much. Oh, and my Instagram is just my name, Elizabeth Marberry. I want to thank you all so much for showing up for yourselves today and investing your time and energy in exploring this topic that really, our actions speak louder than words. And so you have been so courageous to come here and be with us today. So thank you so much. And thank you to Michanda.
I'm so grateful that you all were here. This took a lot of space and courage to be here, and we don't take that for granted. Be kind. Be gentle, be open is my hope for you all. And no matter what, whenever you feel doubt and worried and scared, breathe. Breathe.
Can we tell them really, within 1 minute, our story?
Oh my gosh, we forgot to tell you
gosh.
this story.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, 20 more seconds.
All right, 20 seconds. We got this so fast.
Okay. Oh
okay.
my gosh. How did we almost forget this?
I don't know. Okay. So a year ago, I was sitting in your seat watching this gorgeous woman on stage at Denver Startup Week. Did you know that? I didn't know her. I was you watching her, and I was just like, she's amazing. So what I did is I reached out to her on Instagram. I know you're shocked. And I said, I want to interview you for my podcast. You are my soul sister. I adore you. Here's what I got out of your talk. And I built this relationship with this incredible woman. She came on my podcast. You got to go listen to it. And since in this last year, we've met for lunch every month. And we've built this beautiful relationship as colleagues and friends and put this session together for all of you. So who knows who's in this room, who you could connect with for your business, for your heart, for your soul. Don't be shy. Send people direct messages. Ask people to lunch. Ask someone to coffee. Go do the thing. She could have said no to me, but she didn't. And look at where I am. So
look where we are. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yes, make connections. There are no coincidences. We're so grateful. That was to us such a beautiful story that you never know. You have all week long to go to Denver Startup Week. We hope you keep making connections wherever you are, because you just never know. I'm so grateful for her. I could go on. And she's gotten me out of my Instagram hibernation. And so I've been, active a little bit more on Instagram. I say a little bit more. She's helping me come through. And so, yes, to all of that. So thank you. We're so grateful. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.